Hello everyone and welcome back to the final episode of the Stardew Valley Mega Modded series. Very sorry that this took so much longer to make than the previous video, but you'll see later on why that was the case. Anyways, we are nearing the end of this playthrough, so now it's time to focus on achieving perfection. That includes building the remaining obelisks, making all the cooking and crafting recipes, befriending all of the villagers, completing every Monster Slayer goal, and of course to build the golden clock. Don't have much more to say about the intro. Now without further ado, sit back, maybe grab a snack, and enjoy the video. We're starting off the new year with a visit from Grandpa. Also my gold pan is ready, so that's neat. He said he's very proud of me and that Moonlight Farm is in good hands. For that he gifted me the Statue of Perfection, and I love the new sprite it has with the mods installed. The first 2 days of spring were mostly spent in the mines. I know, boring, but I'm going to need so much money this year, not only for the remaining obelisks and the golden clock, but for a whole new farm that I haven't even shown you guys yet. And one of the best money makers is of course making wine, and for that I need a buttload of copper, iron ore, and also wood. However, after my grinding session was done, I realized I had way too little oak resin for my grand plan. I'm not a very organized person, as you can see. I was only able to craft 37 kegs for the second wine shed, which is better than nothing I guess, though I wanted to be done with it that day. Magnus visited me earlier that day, where he told me that the Ministry of Magic have assigned him a pupil that he is to train in the elemental arts. His name is Morgan and he'll be arriving tomorrow morning. You know what that means? Yep, another person to befriend. I had a chat with Krovas later where he introduced me to one of his shadow friends, Nyx. He's kind of like the leader of the shadow people, and he said that they don't want to fight me anymore. He wishes to make peace between us and requested 5,000 Void Souls. Yeah, about that. Void Souls can only be found in the Crimson Badlands, and I'm not too eager to go back to that place, at least not right now. I commissioned an Iridium Pan upgrade from Clint, and then went on a little gifting spree around town, since there's still quite a few people who I don't even have a single heart with. Like Ryle, who I've been ignoring ever since he came here a year ago. Oops. While doing that, I came across Alyssa, where she showed me a new song lyrics she's been working on. I accompanied her to the stage that is located next to Pika's restaurant, so she can start practicing. Lenny showed up in the middle of that, who overheard Alyssa singing, and asked if she was up to do a little performance in front of the town. At first Alyssa seemed very unsure about that, but I encouraged her to try it out, and that I'd be there to support her of course. Last thing I did today was to go to the walnut room where I traded my gems for the deluxe fertilizer and magic bait crafting recipe. The very next morning I got acquainted with Morgan. He showed me one of his new magic tricks, which Magnus really didn't like, and I love how he even has his own room in here. Very nice detail. I was occupied with fishing today. First on the island where I caught an octopus, and when checking the collection tab, it dawned on me that I haven't caught the glacier fish yet. I knew there was something I forgot back in winter. Well, nothing I can do about it right now, just have to wait for winter again. I continued with fishing in the secret woods for a grass carp, and lastly in the cinder subforest where I fished up a king salmon. In the evening I wanted to decorate around the giant crops that I had on the farm, and accidentally destroyed the giant cauliflower with my axe. I was mildly infuriated, to say the least. Let's just hope I can grow another one in time. Day 229, I was chilling with Linus in the morning at the mountain lake. I was patiently waiting for Robin to open up, where I moved all of my fish ponds to the smaller quarry area on my farm. Also, I constructed my first multiplayer cabin. I love using them for decorating. It might look a bit bare bones at the moment, but it's a work in progress. I was busy with doing the remaining Monster Slayer goals on Saturday, also keeping an eye out for any dragon teeth while at the volcano. The final Slayer goal was for magma sprites, which I finished later in the evening. I keep forgetting that you don't actually get a reward for doing these. Well, you do for the individual goals, but not for completing all of them. But it's done now, one step closer towards perfection. I made a quick detour to the Crimson Badlands outpost because today Camilla was here, and same as Isaac, she has her own shop inventory with very powerful potions. I bought one Barbarian and one Aegis Elixir, there's the iframes that I wanted. And after that, I was occupied in the Ridge Forest where I was hoping to find a foxbloom flower. Another item for the collection tab that I haven't been able to track down so far. This flower will only spawn on a random Sunday while having the fox mask in your inventory. Now, for some reason, I was under the impression that you need the fox bracelet in your inventory, the one that Lorenzo gave to me in year 1, and not the mask. I do figure out eventually that I'm carrying the wrong item with me, but yeah, it's gonna take me some time. As expected, I didn't find it that day, though I was able to fish up a crimson spike clam from one of the rivers nearby. On 233, it was Lance's birthday, and I gifted him that one gold quality monster mushroom that I had, maxing out another friendship. In town I accepted Evelyn's request where she wants me to gather 12 leeks for George, then was busy with fishing again. Down in the sewers I caught a radioactive bass, a goldfish by the river, and an amoebi carp, which was the last fish I needed from that area. I also made sure to give Bianca and Diana a gift, picked up the new forage, and bought more seeds from the stall. The following morning I had Lance visiting my island farm. He finished researching the monster crops and asked if I wanted to come with him to the First Slash Guild, since he couldn't have done this without me. Of course I tagged along, and he showed me a new warp point that leads to a brand new area, the Fable Reef, home to the First Slash Guild and probably my favorite looking location in Expanded. It's so pretty here. Lance introduced me to his leader Julene and showed the guild the different monster crops that I cultivated last year. After the meeting, I found myself back on Ginger Island, and I was a bit confused at first since I thought I had the warp point unlocked now, that leads to the Fable Reef, and I did, but it takes me a few days to figure out where it is exactly. Back in Ridgeside, I saw that everyone from both villagers gathered around the stage to see Alyssa perform. As promised, I was here for a mental support. Together with Sam, Abigail, and Sebastian, Alyssa performed her new song in front of the whole town. I think at least. I must have had earplugs in or something because I didn't hear a single peep. After the concert, I was looking for various forage that I need for a request I accepted from Pika a few days ago. Waking up the next day, I had different clothes on. I was noticeably confused for a second, but the culprit wasn't far off. I'll be taking my stuff back on, thank you very much. I continued my foraging run that day, fished up a Cape tree frog and purchased Gio's portrait from the traveling merchant. Just need a proper spot for that in the house, and there, perfect, love it. While looking for leeks in the Cindersap forest, I came across the trash bear disguised as Totoro. Again, I love playing modded. He asked for an eel, which I handed to him after I completed my foraging run, and then wanted to give him the next item he requested, but he wasn't there anymore. Guess he is not a fan of rain. I visited Apples later, where I saw that he was accompanied by Peaches. Seems like they were having a little party. I found the last leek for Evelyn's request that day, dropped those off at her house, and then I remembered that the warp rune that leads to the Fable Reef is located inside the Wizard's Tower and not at the Nexus. Here I can find new forage that I need for the shipping collection and, more importantly, a whole bunch of new fish, like this viper eel, arrowhead shark, daggerfish, torpedo trout, and turret fish, which I believe was the last legendary fish from the expanded mod. Now the fishing tab doesn't look so empty anymore. I got my free coffee machine from Evelyn on 236. I do love me some coffee. In Stardew that is, not in real life. I handed Totoro a sardine and a tortilla. This guy sure is hungry. Then he wanted some sort of burger. I thought at first it was the survival burger, but upon closer inspection it seems like the big bark burger, which means I had to sacrifice that one puppy fish I had. I'm sorry little guy, but I have to do this. Now that Totoro was no longer hungry, he got up, played a little melody, and cleaned up the nasty trash that was everywhere around the cliffs. He even gave Dusty a steak while he flew off like Mary Poppins. What a sweet guy. I purchased the Book of Altruism from Marcello, and now villagers will accept more than 2 gifts per week, which is amazing since there's still a lot of people who I haven't even fully befriended yet. I found the last mountain arugula for Pika that day, dropped everything off at his house, and with that quest now completed, unlocked a new cooking recipe. Today I wanted to go to the volcano, but it's a festival day, meaning that all of the buildings are closed, which was a bit irritating considering I have the key to the town, but whatever. Egg festival it is, and well, at least I can buy strawberry seeds while there. I received the golden piggy bank from Mr. G the next day for earning over 10 million gold in total. Thank you very much, it's adorable. Now that Willie's shop is open again, I was able to visit the island again. Sure wish I had that island obelisk by now, but that's exactly why I was here anyways, to look for dragon teeth. I didn't find any that day. I did get the dragon tooth club, so that's cool. And even better, the pirates were visiting later. I played 3 rounds of dart, which landed me another 3 walnuts, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I have no idea where else I would acquire any more walnuts, so I might have to pay the Georgia parrot for the few that I'm missing, but we'll just see later this year. Willie and Linus came by on 239 to have a chat with Leo. They asked if he wanted to come back to the mainland with them so that he doesn't have to live alone here anymore. I know he has his parrot family, but with no humans around, doesn't seem like a suitable place for a small child. Linus said that he would love to show him the forage spots in the valley, the different animals, and so much more. Leo was very unsure about the offer at first, but after his parrot friend gave him an encouraging speech, he agreed to travel back with them. He'll be living in the valley from now on. Without a doubt, one of my favorite vanilla cutscenes. I wanted to go back to the volcano again, but it was the first day of the annual desert festival, and I cannot miss out on that. I got my new cactus body, and of course my free outfit from Emily, can't forget about that, and was busy in the Skull Cavern for the remaining day. With all the buffs that I had, I was zooming through the levels, even making it past floor 100 again. 240 and 241 were pretty much the same, just grinding for eggs in the mines. Other noticeable things that happened during those 2 days. Thankfully, I had another giant cauliflower sprout next to the other giant crops. Now it kinda annoys me that the pumpkin is 1 tile off compared to everyone else. I'm never gonna be satisfied with this layout. And I gave birth. I didn't even know I was pregnant. It was a girl and I named her Jessica. Being the final day of the event, I bought the magic rock candy, both of the boats, and a bunch of mega bombs. I handed Philip a birthday present, and while at the community greenhouse, harvested my ancient fruit. And I won't mention the harvests anymore, I'm sure you get it by now, I have to harvest these once a week. The rest of the day was spent in the volcano, where I enchanted my watering can. And on Thursday, I found the final dragon tooth that I needed. Unfortunately for me, this was not the last time that I have to go looking for these, far from it, but that's a problem for another day. With the materials, I rushed to the Wizard's Tower and constructed the Earth Obelisk, and of course, the Island Obelisk. Now I do also have 2 other obelisks available, being the one for Ridgeside and the Home Obelisk, which I assume is part of another mod I have installed, which allows me to construct farm buildings on the island farm and even other locations. But I have no idea if they count towards perfection, so I won't bother with building these, for now at least. I was in the Highlands area after that to look for more fish, like this fiber gooby and a gemfish from this cave pond. Again, just love being attacked while fishing, it's so much fun. I sold over 150 bottles of aged wine that day, and I'm always so surprised for how good this sells. Almost 750,000 gold is crazy. I'm not so worried about the golden clock anymore. On Saturday morning, I commissioned the long-awaited premium barn from Robin. Same as the premium coop, the structure is massive, so I had to swap a few things around to make space for it. After that, I remembered to pick up my iridium pan from Clint, and with that, every single tool, including the trash can, are now fully upgraded. Feels good. I was mostly occupied with decorating the pond area that day, and I really like how everything came together. In the late evening, I made a quick detour to the Ridge Falls, where I caught my first Ridgeside legendary fish, being the waterfall snakehead. 245 to 246 were spent in the kitchen working on various cooking recipes that I haven't made before. Looking at the collection tab, I'd say I managed to create around 80% of the ones that were available to me, which is good progress, but I'm still missing quite a few recipes even after all that. Most of these are thankfully tied to villagers, so I just need to work on getting those friendship points up. Later I saw Apples and Peaches at the Junimo village, talking to their friends, and it seems like they were having some sort of a meeting. I wouldn't know, there was a whole lot of sounds, but no idea what they were saying. After this little gathering, I headed over to the vineyard, where all of the Junimos showed up as well and tended to the starfruits that were inside the building. Even the bear was here. Downstairs next to Apple's hut is the starfruit mother tree, as he called it before. Is this another ritual that I'm witnessing? I've had quite enough of these already, if I'm being honest. The Junimos shared their knowledge with me, and now starfruits will sell for a higher amount of money, which is pretty neat and all, but I'm more into the ancient fruit business. Upon visiting the Junimo village the next day, I saw that one of them had a new item in stock, being the Super Star Fruit. Same as Crowos, you can actually live together with apples if you desire to do so. Very cute. I was here to purchase the Arrowhead artifact from this little red fella, which I handed over to Ezekiel for a special request he posted. For this he rewarded me with the FRA combat boots. Definitely one of the best footwear you can get, as they provide a lot of defense and immunity. I had Apples visiting me in the morning, where he thanked me for all of the star fruits I brought to him. I mean, that was like 2 seasons ago, but you're welcome, buddy. More importantly, he told me that he could refurbish the old vineyard for me. To my surprise, I actually get a choice here. Either Apples will repair the building, as he just told me. However, this will prompt him to move back to the Junimo village, or he will stay at the vineyard and I don't get to use it for myself, I assume. Again, I've never seen this cutscene before. As much as I adore Apples, I really wanted to have the plot and the house, so I decided to have the place refurbished. I didn't feel that bad though, since now he has Peaches, meaning that he always has someone to play with. So together we headed over to the now newly repaired vineyard, where Apples and Peaches said their goodbyes to me, and of course I promised to visit them from time to time. And there it is, a whole new farm for me to play with. I'll come back to this in a few days. On Thursday I had enough coffee beans and tea leaves for Olga's morning hobby request, which she posted at the beginning of spring. Very important quest, as this will unlock the matcha latte cooking recipe for me. Most of the day was spent at the Crimson Badlands. Alyssa was here as well, where I purchased the 3 armor elixirs that she had for a massive defense boost. I was here to get started on collecting those void souls, that's all I wanted to do, when to my absolute shock, I came across a demon serpent. Like seriously, what even is this? This area is already filled with dangerous enemies, and now I have to deal with a full-on boss? Funny enough, it doesn't even have a health bar, so I guess I am playing Monster Hunter after all. Even with all of the buffs that I had, this thing almost one-shots me. Absolutely crazy. I was battling the beast the entire day, but after 8 PM I actually managed to slay it. Victory was mine. And I didn't even die a single time, surprisingly. The serpent dropped a so-called void shard, another item for the shipping collection, and right after that I saw a hidden entrance near the beast's lair that was guarded by tons of enemies. There's no wonder this area is so incredibly laggy. Look how many monsters there are. Yeah, I'm good. I had my fair share of battles today. I'll come back for that another day. On day number 250, Robin was done with the premium coop construction. Full of excitement, I rushed over to Marty's, and indeed, I can have a bear on my farm now. Not really sure how to feel about that though, but I need their produce for the shipping collection, so Egon and more it is. And also camels are available now, though I already knew about those since they were on the promo picture for the new update. Both the camels and bears already come as adults, and they don't consume any grass outside, which is pretty neat. And by the way, I love the interior of the premium barn. You can really tell how much love went into creating this mod. I had the extremely bright idea to go back to the Badlands that day, unprepared, when I really should have just stayed at home. I was so curious about that cave entrance I spotted yesterday, and I thought I could just run past all of the enemies. Turns out the demon serpent already respawns the next day, love that, and enemies still hit like a truck. I really need to start working on a better ring setup for this area. So after getting my booty handed to me, I returned to the vineyard to start working on the new farm, which kept me occupied the following 2 days. I had a couple of ideas in mind for the plot outside. I didn't just want to plaster everything with ancient fruit again, I think I have enough of those by now. I really wanted to make this a cozy vineyard with lots of fruit trees and different types of crops. Though it was already late spring when I started working on the layout, so for now I only planted the fruit trees. Of course I also decorated the house inside. Unfortunately you cannot change the flooring, nor the wallpaper, so everything looks rather basic, but it still turned out very cozy, if I do say so myself. I decided to decorate the basement as well. I know you can put casks in here if I remember correctly, but I just know if I were to put machines down here, I would 100% forget about those. In honor of apples, I turned the basement into my own little Junimo village. In case you're wondering why I'm glowing green, I was in the ridge earlier that day to yet again look for the foxbloom flower. Of course I didn't find it, however I dug up the children's sketchbook, the second last modded book that I need. Very nice. Over on Ginger Island, I traded in 10 radioactive bars for a second galaxy soul, and lastly, I visited the henchman later, where he shared his marsh tonic recipe with me. Monday morning, I handed Bryle a birthday present, finally getting some friendship points with this guy. Being the first day of summer, I was busy on the field, this time planting over 400 blueberry seeds. I picked up the first honey jars and camel wool from the premium barn, planted the first crops over at the vineyard, accepted Cheese Kindness quest where I need to hand out 50 loved items in 1 week, and before going back home I caught a Lunaloo at the southeast beach on Ginger Island. Since I need the friendship points anyways, I was busy with handing out gifts the next day. This is a super easy quest since rabbit's foot and diamonds are universally loved gifts and I had plenty of those by now. While in the area I caught 2 blade-tailed sturgeons from the pond in the forest, one for a request and the other for cooking. Also visited a movie for the new summer forage and to say hello to Diana, Bianca and Raphael. Lastly I went to the movie theater where I was lucky and got my hands on both the Woombas and Bobo's statue. Day 255 I finished Mr. Cheese quest and traded my coins for the Hopper crafting recipe. I absolutely hate how expensive this is, and even worse, I know that I am never going to use this. Still, it's required for perfection, and speaking about it, currently we're sitting exactly at 69% at the perfection tracker.
Nice.
Seeing how little progress I made on the crafting menu so far, I spent the remaining day working on that. Once I crafted the slime incubator and egg press, I suddenly had the urge to construct a slime hutch. I've accumulated almost every type of slime egg so far, except for the tiger slime egg, and I have so much space on the farm anyways, so might as well build one. Then I was mostly busy with crafting again. Same as cooking, this is rather boring and tedious to do, but necessary for reaching that perfection goal. Friday morning I went on a foraging run through Ridgeside, and after I was done with that, I visited the Summit farm for the first time. The place Ray talked about all the way back at the beginning of year 2, located beyond the forest at the top of the mountain, as the name suggests. The reason why I haven't bothered coming here before is that I don't really need another huge farm, but also in order to properly use it, you first need to upgrade it over at Odd Jobs. And if memory serves me correct, then these upgrades are very pricey. But this is one of my favorite modded farms. If I could start my playthrough on this, I would definitely do it. And since there isn't that much left to do in the game, I thought, yeah, why not focus on that now? So I waited for Sean to get out of his bed the next morning and I had a look at the upgrade list. The first one is just for the house. It's not that expensive, but it needs a whole lot of hardwood, which I don't have at the moment. I spent the afternoon in a movie where I got a tour around the area from Bianca. During the cutscene, I noticed a little cave entrance next to the waterfall, which turned out to be another place for foraging. Today I managed to find the last Mountain Chico for Pika's special request. There is one exotic ingredient quest each season, and it's very important that I do this since they each unlock a new cooking recipe. It was Scarlett's birthday on Sunday, and for the life of me I couldn't seem to find her on the map. Thankfully I remembered that she lives in a place called Pondwood, formerly known as Grampleton Field, which is only accessible via train. Thank god I already played with this mod before, because otherwise I would have never knew this place existed. I headed over and handed her the rabbit's foot, then was looking for void souls in the Badlands for the remainder of the day. I accepted Caroline's Island ingredient quest on 260 for I believe the 5th time now. Luckily for me she wants taro root this time. These are very easy to get as I can just trade a few bone fragments for the seeds over at the island trader. So I grabbed all the ones nearby from the dig site, but turns out that wasn't even necessary, as for once I was actually smart enough to save the ones I've gotten so far in one of my chests. I planted all of the seeds in Grandpa's shed, and now I just have to wait a few days for them to fully mature. Tuesday was spent in the highlands to gather hardwood, as I am still missing so much wood for the Summit farm repairs. I also purchased a few decos from the dwarf shop while there, and I learned that I can actually summon roach here, which is very handy for traversing the massive area. Before heading back home, I bought 2 crabshell rings from Marlon. Like I said, I need better rings for the Crimson Badlands, and higher defense should help me to survive a bit better. The next 4 days were spent in the volcano dungeon looking for yet again more dragon teeth. Unfortunately for me, I still need I think 6 more for them for certain crafting recipes. I did manage to find 2 during these days, but yeah, that's about it. Also I combined an iridium band with one of the crabshell rings and the second one with a napalm ring. No idea if this is going to make a difference, but I guess we're gonna find out sooner or later. A green rain blessed me on day 266, which was perfect as this fully matured all of the hardwood seeds that I planted just a few days ago, allowing me to commission the summit house upgrade from Oddjobs. I had Diana visiting me on the farm the following morning. I haven't had someone stop by in a hot minute, so I was pleasantly surprised about this. She was in awe about my farm layout. Thank you very much, I spent way too much time decorating, I'm glad it finally pays off. And asked me about farming tips since Diana wants to become a farmer herself. I told her the secret of being a good farmer is of course to talk to your crops every day. Everyone knows that, of course. I've had enough of the same old volcano grind, so instead I decided to head to the Crimson Badlands, my favorite area. I made sure to swap on my new rings, chucked down on the best elixirs that I had, and carefully made my way towards the cave entrance on the other side of the desert. And with careful, I mean that I just sprinted past all of the enemies and made sure to immediately eat a whole block of cheese whenever my health got low. Inside the cave were lots of treasure chests on the ground, and a voice suddenly began speaking to me. Not this again. I really wonder if this is just another lone entity, or actually someone that I know, but never mind that, in the center of the cave sits an ornamental chest with a prismatic shard-shaped keyhole. Very ominous. Nothing I can do here right now, so I teleported back to the farm. The rest of the day was spent giving out gifts, and while doing that, I came across Morgan, who was studying for his next exam. And actually, this cutscene was kinda sad, because he told me that I'm the only person who ever says hello to him. Despite Magnus getting a few visitors here and there, everyone kinda just ignores him. He also mentioned Camilla and said that she gives him the creeps. Same buddy, same. Don't worry Morgan, I'll be sure to stop by as often as I can. Marlon greeted me early in the morning on day 268. Okay, it was cute when Diana did it, she gets a free pass because she's a kid, but seriously, stop showing up at my house at 6 AM in the morning. He informed me about a very important meeting later at the guild and expects me to be there. Surely this is related to the mysterious cave I found yesterday. And right after that, I had Mr. Chi himself outside my door. What did I just say? He told me about a new song that he added to my jukebox, being the Stardew Valley expanded trailer. Why thank you very much. Obviously I had to check that out, and for the occasion I turned up the music slider in the options menu. Super cozy, I do love me some piano music. Let's just hope this is not copyrighted, for my sake. I went to the summit farm after that to see if the upgrade was already done, and I just love that you can see Ian and Sean working on the building. Such a nice detail. I haven't visited the Stardew saloon in quite a while, but I wasn't here for drinks and music. Nope, I came to play Junimo card. Yep, you heard me. Only reason being that after dying a few times, this will unlock a new book for me over at Marcella's stall. I did actually manage to find all 3 fruits and complete the first level at one point, only to immediately fail at the next level. Mad respect to anyone who beat the story mode, I genuinely hate this minigame. Later I waited together with Lance for the meeting to start, where once inside, Marlon talked about rare sightings of legendary monsters that we have to investigate. There's one creature in each of the expanded areas, the Marshlands, Highlands, and the Crimson Badlands, starting the legendary trio quest. I thought at first he was talking about this giant black serpent that is roaming in the desert, but turns out it's actually smaller critters that are hard to find and just have more HP than the normal versions. Tempered monsters, I see. Of course this piqued my interest, so I began looking for those legendary beasts the very next day. First I went to the Marshlands in search for the purple mushroom crab. I had a brawl with one of the not-so-friendly neighborhood ghosts, and lost, but went straight back after paying my medical bill where I found it shortly after. As mentioned before, these guys have a lot of health, but as long as they don't one-shot me, I'm good. After a lot of smacks on the head, I defeated the crab and for that got a mega purple mushroom. The the rarest mushroom in the world according to the item description. Up next was the legendary gold slime located in the highlands. There were so many slimes in the forest that day that I actually ended up heading back home for a second to pick up the slime charmer ring. Finding the gold slime was relatively easy, he was kinda just there the second I came back to the area. Once defeated, he dropped a whole bunch of different slime eggs, even the tiger slime egg and a golden one. Very nice. Last on the list was the sand scorpion in the Crimson Badlands. I made sure to be extra careful here as some of the scorpions that spawn have sonic speed for some reason. They just suddenly sprint at you out of nowhere. I had no luck with finding it that day, however on Friday I spotted it almost instantly. Same as the other two monsters, he's easy to tell apart from the regular ones since he has a brighter color palette. After a good 2 in-game hours of battling the beast, he finally went down, dropping a magic lamp as loot. Now, I was a bit unsure on what to do next. The quest log states that I have to deliver the 3 monster drops to Marlon, but I didn't really want to do that. See, I need the monster loot for the shipping collection, and if I hand over the items to Marlon, well, they disappear, and right now I'm not really in the mood to track down these monsters again, so I'm gonna hold on to these for now. After my trip to the desert, I went to check out my newly refurbished Summit farmhouse. Not really sure if this was worth 500 hardwood logs, but it's done now and I do love how the house looks. The next upgrade available at Oddjobs is the climate control, and it is exactly as good as it sounds. Being able to plant any crop all year around is crazy good, but it comes at a cost. First I need to get the seeds. Most of them were bought over at the Junimo village. I then crafted the rest myself and commissioned the upgrade. I'm in no hurry to get the golden clock just yet. 272, I harvested the taro root inside the shed and shipped 100 of those. I was in the ridge to gather spiritual essence and mountain mistbloom flowers, which I dropped by this weird looking serpent. Remember the cursed greenhouse on the hike trail, where I got a quest a while ago and said I didn't care about it? Yeah, I do now. I had to collect 15 mountain mistbloom, 10 sweet gemberries and 5 rubies. I returned to the hike trail after midnight with the items in my inventory, and while I could enter the building, nothing happened. So that was a bit weird. On a brighter note, I finally got the solar panel crafting recipe from Caroline. Now I don't have to worry about that anymore. The whole day was pretty uneventful, so let's just skip ahead to later, where after midnight I returned to the greenhouse again, but this time a cutscene triggered. The spirit told me that I completed the request, and with that lifted the curse that was on the building. Bliss showed up after that and told me I was free to use the greenhouse if I wanted to. Can never have too many of those. Since I didn't really know what else to plant in here, I decided to just put down more ancient fruit as well as some of the leftover starfruit seeds that I had. It's not a very pretty building, but it'll get the job done. It was community day, which was perfect as I had accepted another G's kindness quest the other day, so I was busy with handing out gifts in here. Which continued until 276, where I finished the quest, rewarding me with another 25 G-gems. I traded them in for the bluegrass starter recipe, which thankfully was the last crafting recipe from the gem shop. I switched the mine's difficulty so that I can gather radioactive ore in here, then was once again handing out gifts. The grind never stops. Checking Oddjobs the next day, I saw that they were already done with the climate control and there's a new commission available, the sprinkler upgrade. I need me one of those, so I got me one of those. As mentioned before, I was in the mines today and I came to realize that looking for radioactive ore is a lot more difficult than just regular iron ore. I only found a handful of scraps despite being down here all day. The search continued on Friday, where I got a galaxy soul from a monster drop. That's a first. I knew that big slimes in the Skull Cave have a small chance of dropping them, but not from any other monsters. I need to check what the drop rates are on this. The whole reason why I was gathering radioactive ore in the first place was so that I can trade it into the island bird for another galaxy soul, but now that I got the last one, I'm outta here. With the 3 galaxy souls now in my possession, I went to the volcano where I forged them onto my sword, creating the Infinity Blade, getting a massive damage boost and even better crit chance. My Stingray Pond blessed me today with 1 dragon tooth, and with that I had just enough to craft a mini forge. Really wish I had that a day earlier, but that's one less crafting recipe out of the way. Morgan stopped by at my farm earlier, where he told me about his test today deep in the woods and that he would like me to be there. Sure thing, buddy. I took care of my last summer harvest, both on the farm and on the vineyard, and after I was done with that, I met up with Morgan and Magnus. The test required a lot of concentration on Morgan's part, and after a few minutes, all of a sudden tons of forest animals started to surround him. The wizard was taken aback by Morgan's powers and proudly declared that he passed his exam. From now on, my farm animals will produce higher quality goods. I don't know what that has to do with Morgan's exam, but I'll take it. I was mostly working on the vineyard today. Now that all of the fruit trees have fully matured, I started decorating the outside area. In preparation for tomorrow, I purchased a whole bunch of fall seeds from Piers, and later in the evening, once again enjoyed the magnificent dance of the moonlight jellies. Told you I'm never skipping this event. First day of fall, and I will never get tired of how beautiful the farm looks during this season. Well, except for the dead crops, but you get my point. I was busy with planting crops on the farm, this time being a buttload of cranberry seeds. Didn't forget about the vineyard, where I placed more cranberry seeds, but also grape vines to match the vineyard aesthetics. Checking up on odd shops later, I saw that the next available upgrade for the summit farm would be an ore area. For some reason this needs a whole lot of hardwood again, which I didn't really care for grinding right now. Once again, I accepted the charity wishlist from Maeve, but this time I was able to finish it the same day, thanks to the animal products I've been hoarding. Got some good money from that as well. While at the Amethyst mansion, I spotted Irene outside on the balcony. She just had a talk with Maeve about re-signing her job. Madame Maeve was very understanding about her decision, since she admires self-made success and is fully supportive of Irene's decision. She's been wanting to travel around for quite some time now, so I was very happy for her. But she will still visit Ridgeside from time to time. And the very next morning, she already had packed and is leaving for Suzu City. No time to waste, I guess. I dropped off a birthday gift for Zane. Love how Irene is leaving on his birthday, very dramatic. Then I was busy in a movie to pick up the new fall forage. While in the area, I came across Lunna and her little sister Diana, who were hanging out in this cave. Diana was fantasizing about the idea of being human for a day, and that prompted Lunna to remember a spell that Magnus showed her a while back. For this, we all needed to hold hands together, because I'm a vessel for magic apparently, and within a blink of an eye, Diana was transformed into a human, while Lunna was transformed into her old purple self. I think Diana's human portrait might be my favorite one in the game. She looks so cute. The spell is only temporary, but to make the best out of it, we went into town to scare the other villagers with Diana's new form. After the shenanigans ended, I had a look at the stall where I finally saw 2 out of the 4 movie exclusive cooking recipes. Although one was unfortunately a bit buggy, as you can see, but this was huge for me as I've been starting to get a bit worried when I will unlock these recipes. At least I have one now that I can make back at home. I traded in all of my mystery boxes to the raccoon's wife for magic rock candy, since I'm not opening the golden mystery boxes anymore, and this trade offer is way too good not to use. It was raining on day 283, which allowed me to look for a sockeye salmon in the Ridgeside River. He was quite hard to catch, but after a little while I reeled it in, and now I only have 2 fish left to catch. I started with decorating the summit farmhouse later, which carried over to the next day. When checking the carpenter later, I saw that I can even place buildings on the summit farm, which had me incredibly excited as I was still unsure on what to do with this massive plot of land. I finished the interior of the farmhouse later. Friday was nothing special, just me handing out gifts again, so let's just skip over to Saturday, where I visited Susan in her home. She was busy with crafting a wardrobe for a friend, but was having trouble with the metal bearings. I offered to help her out and finish the recipe. As a thanks, she taught me a few new crafting tricks, which means that casks, kegs, and preserve jars now require less wood to craft. Really wish I had this knowledge a bit sooner, but thanks. I wanted to buy starfruit seeds from Sandy's, but she's just never working in Expanded it seems. So with nothing left to do, I began planning the outside area of the summit farm, which continued on day 287. I harvested my starfruit on Ginger Island, and with those commissioned my first 2 Junimo huts for the summit farm. 288 to 289 were spent in the Skull Cavern, gathering any type of ore I came across, but also for stone. Building Junimo huts costs a ton of stone for some reason, and for the first time during this playthrough I was short on that. The grind paid off as this allowed me to craft another 30 kegs, finishing the second keg shed. I am so tired of grinding iron ore at this point. I accepted Pika's fall exotic ingredient quest, so I was busy with collecting lava lilies around the ridge for the next few in-game days, as well as working on the summit farm. And yes, I know I'm skipping ahead quite a bit here and there, and I'm sorry about that, but well, let's face it, I'm in year 3 now, nearing the end of my perfection goal, and there just isn't that much left to do in the game, and I don't want to bore you guys either. So usually when I'm skipping days, it's either because I'm decorating something, or I'm simply doing chores that just aren't worth mentioning anymore, so don't think you're missing out on something, because you're really not. On day 294, I finished Pika's special request, commissioned a shed upgrade for the summit farm, very excited about that one. Then I was visiting a movie where I stumbled upon Raphael in his office who was talking to his dad. I've seemed to have come at a bad time since he was scolding Raphael for his past actions, that he is to do better, and that he is disappointed in him. Yikes. To cool down a bit, we went to a nearby tavern where Raphael opened up about his past. About 10 months ago, the town was attacked by bandits that wanted to rob this place. Raphael was leading the people and tried to give everyone commands, but at some point, things started to go horribly wrong. The southern side of Umui was poorly protected, and that's where the bandits went in. Though unfortunately, he realized that when it was already too late. Bianca was in the back protecting the elderly and kids with a spell when the bandits came towards them. They almost died that day, and only thanks to the magic explosion that Lunna caused while she opened the portal to Umui, they were able to live that day. The explosion was so violent that it must have scared off the intruders. I don't really see how any of this is Raphael's fault, considering that he was just trying to help, and that's exactly what I said to him, which seemed to have lifted his spirits a bit. On Monday I forgot to record for the first half of the day, so that's cool. I paid the golden Georgia parrot to find the remaining 7 walnuts for me, then was inside the volcano for about 30 seconds where I immediately found the last dragon tooth that I was missing, and with that crafted the island warp totem. No more looking for dragon teeth. I was under the impression that this was the last crafting recipe I was missing, but the perfection tracker says otherwise. Turns out Ridgeside adds 1 new crafting recipe, which is for the rich warp totem, and to get that, I need to finish a special request for Mr. Agua. Let's just hope the request pops up at some point. After going to bed, I saw the golden parrots flying around Ginger Island, tracking down the missing walnuts. And Morris is also there. I wonder what he's up to these days. Today was the Stardew Valley Fair. I wasn't really planning on participating this year, however there is still a modded book that I was missing. This required me to place 6 artisan goods on the range display and win first prize. For that I brought some of my aged ancient fruit wine, and thankfully this was enough for the win. The shop didn't seem to have anything new, so I just picked the prize ticket and went home after that. Upon checking my mail the next day, I received the Artisan Guild manual. Now my artisan machines will produce faster and more efficiently, which is crazy good. I might need more ancient fruit plants after all. I made a quick trip over to the desert to visit Sandy's, where I purchased a few mannequins from her shop. These got displayed in the newly upgraded shed on the summit farm, and if you watched my other 100 days video, then you might already know where this is going. So for the uninitiated, in my very first Stardew Valley 100 days video I made something that I called a hat shed, where I placed a whole bunch of alien rare crows inside a shed and, well, put hats on them. And I could just do the same with the rare crows, but now that they are modded, I can still put hats on them, but they look a bit off, so I decided to go with mannequins this time, plus I can also put clothes on them. This is more for me than for you guys, just so that I have a bit more to do in the game, and I have so many different hats and shirts at this point, so why not display them somewhere? And as I've said before, I do really enjoy tailoring in this game. I've been handing out gifts almost on a daily basis at this point, and it shows in the menu. I had most people at max hearts now when I noticed that Raphael's dad, Salvador, suddenly popped up in the NPC menu, and he has his own friendship meter. Why? I thought there was finally a light at the end of the tunnel. Nope, it just never stops, does it? Though still to this day, I'm not really sure if this was maybe a bug, because I've never seen his dad anywhere outside of that one cutscene. Not in the valley, not in Ridgeside, and not even in Umui. So no idea what's going on here. Anyways, I was busy again working on the hat shed. I'll be adding more stuff whenever I have time, but for now I was already very happy with how it turned out. On this beautiful Monday morning, I had Diana stop by on the farm. She had something important to show me and insisted on me coming over to a movie this instant. Together we headed over where she showed me this magical new cave that had lots of space for crops inside. It is indeed another greenhouse. Diana used to plant crops in here together with her sister Lunna, but after she moved to Pelican Town, Diana couldn't maintain it anymore because it was simply too much work for her. Since it would be a waste to just leave it be, she allowed me to use the building from now on. This might be my new favorite greenhouse design. I love it. 303 was a good luck day, so I decided to head out and look for those legendary monsters again. First I was in the highlands in search for the gold slime. I didn't find it. Then later in the marshlands for the mushroom crab, which I also didn't find. But hey, at least I got a new shirt, another piece for the headshot. On Wednesday, however, I had more luck and came across the gold slime, following with the mushroom crab the next day. And just a little tip, in case someone is watching this who is also playing with the expanded mod, bring the ice rod when you're looking for those legendary monsters. Unlike the giant serpent in the desert, these creatures are not immune against any of the trinkets, and with the ice rod it's pretty easy to take them down. Last monster was the blue scorpion in the Badlands, which I found instantly, like 10 seconds after I came to this area. Taking it down with little issues this time, and once back on the farm, shipped off the gold slime egg, mega purple mushroom and the magic lamp. I gave Marlon the duplicates and with that finished the legendary trio quest. I had Isaac waiting for me outside the next day where he congratulated me on hunting down those monsters and that my reward can be found at the Castle Village outpost. Of course I was eager to find out what it could be, and just as he said, there was 2 chests waiting for me. Inside was a sword called Monster Splitter and a heavy shield. The greatsword is, as expected, very slow but has a good amount of damage, but the shield I didn't really understand how to use. To my surprise, you can actually enchant the sword, and with emeralds you can modify the speed of a weapon, bringing it down from -12 speed to now only -4, which makes this significantly more comfortable to use. So long, Infinity Blade, you did me a great service. I tried out my new baby at the poor souls that were roaming around in the rich forest. Still, haven't found the foxbloom flower by the way. And we are already in winter. First objective for today was to go fishing. I chucked down my seafoam pudding, patiently waited for the target to bite, and after a little while I caught the glacier fish. Accepted the final exotic ingredient request from Pika while in Ridgeside, then fished in the forest where I got my hands on the Deep Ridge Angler, earning me the Master Angler achievement for catching every single fish in the game. Not only did I get the achievement, but also the last missing star drop from Willy, another step towards perfection. The good news doesn't stop there, as I finally came to realize that I've been carrying around the wrong item with me whenever I went looking for the foxbloom. Thank God Google exists. So I got myself a second fox mask by standing in front of this statue for a few in-game hours. Wednesday to Thursday were spent gathering materials for Pika's request, which were dropped off on Friday. This allowed me to buy the last modded cooking recipe, the Winter Night Feast. Then I spent the entire rest of the day down in the Skull Cavern in search for Omni Geodes. Saturday was the same, while here I also made sure to keep an eye on the map for Gus. At this point I was missing one single cooking recipe, being the tropical curry you can only purchase from Gus while he's on the island resort. And in case you're wondering what happened to the Umui cooking recipes, that IRL day I decided to remove the Lunna Astray mod. Yeah, so remember when I saw the cooking recipe that was bugged in the stall, and that Raphael's dad suddenly showed up on the NPC menu? I tried my best to figure out what was wrong with the mod. I tried updating everything, taking out the mod and reinstalling it, but then that caused other mods not to work anymore. And the thing is, this is just a tiny expansion pack. This is not Ridgeside nor Stardew Expanded, where I can just look up stuff on the wiki, or yeah, Google it. It was basically impossible to find any information about this mod. And the strange thing is that on the official Nexus website, it even says that the Lunna Astray mod is supposed to have crafting recipes, which I've never even seen before. I saw there was one other person who had the same issue like me, who tried to befriend Raphael's dad, but he never showed up anywhere. This caused me a lot of headaches, and this is also one of the reasons why it took so long to record everything this time, as I was occupied with finding a solution for this, and this took several days. So in the end, I just decided to remove the mod, which really sucked, as I spent so much time and effort befriending all of those NPCs, and I actually really came to like Diana. I thought she was the most interesting person in that mod pack. I know the majority of you guys probably don't care about this anyways, but I just wanted to mention it quickly in case there was someone wondering about this and why I'm not mentioning, well, any of those NPCs anymore. On a more exciting note, when visiting the henchman the following day, he showed me a new hidden area behind his house. Ever since he lost his job, he's been working on this little side project in his free time, and he's possibly schizophrenic? That's a bit scary. In the midst of talking, his former boss, the witch lady, suddenly made an appearance. I guess she approves of the new shrines. Most of them are not that interesting, but the one on the right side gives me 1 money back tree seed if I donate 20 supernatural goo to it, and I want me one of those. After that I made sure to equip the fox mask this time as it was Sunday again, and oh boy, today it happened. I found the foxbloom flower in the rich forest. I even got 2 of those, thanks to having the botanist perked. I shipped it off and earned the full shipment achievement. And it gets even better as I had just over 10 million gold sitting in my bank account. If only real life was that easy. I headed over to the wizard's tower and constructed the golden clock. I decided to place it in the middle of the pathway this time and make smaller decorations around it. So now that I have the golden clock, what's left to do in the game? As I said before, I'm missing the tropical curry recipe from Gus, 1 crafting recipe from Ridgeside, and get full hearts with a couple more people. And speaking about people, the henchman got his job back after all. Good for you, buddy. I know what you're thinking, Sav, why did you grind for those Omni Geodes the other day? And I'm so glad you asked. I've had my eye on a very specific item from the desert trader, being the magic cowboy hat, and I just had enough Omni Geodes to afford it. I wasted almost all of my prismatic shards on the tailoring machine to try and get those damn prismatic genie pants. If you tailor with prismatic shards, the results are randomized. But it was so worth it. New trip acquired. Fashion is the true endgame after all. Day 318 I went back to the Crimson Badlands to gather void souls, but also I was curious about the ornamental chest in the cave I found a while back, but I still couldn't interact with it. If you know, then feel free to leave a comment down below, because even now, after recording everything, I still haven't figured it out. I was very confused at this point on why I was still sitting at 97% at the Great Friends meter on the perfection tracker. I think I was missing maybe 1 heart with Kiwi, and yeah, so turns out there is still a person that I haven't even met yet. Remember all the way back in year 1 when I came across Peepo and Acorn who said they were looking for someone? Yeah, I'm also looking for that someone. To actually meet this mystery person, I had to return to the hike trail after 11 PM on a clear night. And yes, I absolutely googled that, there's no way I would have figured that out by myself. A shadowy creature lurked in the dark next to this abandoned house, who upon interacting with, told me to come back again tomorrow. And that's exactly what I did, where after 11 PM I was allowed to enter the building and got introduced to Andrea, a shape-shifting elf. She had a little challenge for me in mind, where she will go and hide as an object, and if I manage to find her, she will reward me with a prize. Seems a bit random, but I'm up for a little game of hide and seek. On Tuesday morning I delivered exactly 60 void souls to Krobus, then was looking for Andrea around Ridgeside, and actually managed to spot her rather quickly. I'd like to say that was skill, but really it was a sheer coincidence. The rest of the day was spent working on the summit farm, and later also visited the night market to buy a few more decorations. 325 I bought a bunch of different seeds from Pierre's. As I mentioned before, with the climate control upgrade that I got, I can plant whatever seeds I want now, which is pretty sweet. Upon returning to Moonlight Farm later in the evening, I had Krobus waiting for me, who informed me about his friends that I've gathered in the nearby mines and are doing something with the void souls that I delivered yesterday. That sounds a bit ominous, to say the least. Together with Krobus we headed over to the mines, and we found ourselves in some sort of a ritual chamber with Nyx and a lot of the other shadow folks. The void souls were placed in the middle of the room, and somehow they created even more shadow people with that. Once again, getting a whole lot of red flags from this. But turns out this was actually a good thing. Thanks to the void souls I brought, the shadow people were reunited with their loved ones, and from now on, they won't attack me anymore. To trigger the next cutscene with Andrea, I had to wait for a sunny Thursday. In the meantime, I got my hands on the Return Scepter, which you can purchase from Krobus. It's basically an infinite supply of farm warp totems, and I don't think I've ever had this item before. Very expensive, but now I'm free to purchase whatever I want anyways. I finished a village cleanup request from Lenny that day, where I had to collect 120 pieces of trash, and for doing that, the town plaza received a smaller makeover, including new benches, lights, and even a fountain. And yes, I am still waiting for Gus to visit Ginger Island. This guy sure loves sitting on his couch and doing absolutely nothing for several hours. On day 333, I spotted Acorn and Peepo at the hike trail together with Peepo's mom, Sari. They are here in search of Andrea, and I'm the only person who knows where she's hiding. I was reluctant to tell them about her whereabouts when suddenly Andrea appeared behind us. At first she was very happy to see me, but her mood quickly changed once she saw the strangers next to me. She wanted to make a run for it when Sari called her princess. We took the conversation inside the old house, where Sari explained to us that Andrea is the long-lost princess of the Elven Kingdom of Verde. Peepo, Acorn and Sari are part of the royal army and were tasked to venture the continent to find her. She goes on about saying that the princess was stolen from the kingdom by humans. I wonder if this is connected to Ray's and Belinda's storyline somehow. But anyways, obviously this was a lot to take in for Andrea. She couldn't quite grasp what Sari just told her and needed a moment to herself, which is understandable. Peepo and the others were overjoyed now that they had finally found the princess and wanted to take her back home to the kingdom, but Andrea didn't want it to leave. This place is her home after all. She asked if we could still do our little hide-and-seek game and to not treat her any differently now that she might be a princess. She doesn't want anything to change. Now I can start gifting her items, and side note, don't give her cheese. She hates it. Acorn, Peepo and his mom are also staying near the old house from now on, though they are non-giftable NPCs. And this was also the last cutscene for her, according to the wiki at least. I do hope they plan on adding more stuff to her, as right now she doesn't even have her own heart events. So this was the last time I mention her, since the only thing I do now is to gift her rabbit's food every day until I have 10 hearts. Besides doing that, the rest of winter was spent working on the summit farm. It's really weird seeing these crops bloom in a snowy environment. But yeah, hello, year number 4. So turns out I missed Mr. Aqua's 2-heart event, and this is the only requirement in order for the special request to pop up. Again, thank God the wiki exists. For that I had to enter his basement inside the research facility. Down there I saw Mr. Aqua perform advanced magic to do his laundry more easily. He didn't enjoy me snooping around, and I don't know why I'm surprised about this. I have basic magic myself, but okay. I guess you're supposed to see this cutscene a lot earlier, but I didn't even know that he had a basement in the first place. I told him that I possess the knowledge of the arcane myself, so he doesn't have to worry about anything. Now I just need to wait for him to post the quest. It is day 342 and I am slowly running out of patience with Gus. Every single day I sit inside the saloon for several hours, waiting for Gus to leave the island, and it just never happens. I am not afraid to use violence at this point, just that you know. But that seemed to have done the trick. On Sunday morning, it finally happened. Gus is leaving for the island. I repeat, Gus is leaving for the island. This is not a drill, guys. I waited patiently for him to arrive on the resort, and there it is. Tropical curry, you are mine at last. By the way, sorry about the bomb yesterday. We're all good now, right? The recipe was easy to make. 1 coconut, 1 pineapple, and a hot pepper. Getting the Gourmet Chef achievement for making every single cooking recipe. Also random side note, but Gio gifted me a foxbloom flower that day. Really wish you gave that to me a bit sooner, but thank you nonetheless. At this point I was about halfway done with Andrea's friendship points, and I am still waiting for Mr. Aqua to post a quest for the warp totem recipe, which could take a little while, so I'll just cut to when I'm there.
2,000 years later.
Which brings us to day 358, I think at least. Mr. Aqua posted the Geology Research Special Order where he requests a random type of geode, and in my case that was frozen geodes, so I had to spend a little time down in the mines to gather the ones I was missing. Once I had everything, I dropped those off at his lab in the evening, and for that he sent me the Ridgeside warp totem recipe the next day. I already had the necessary materials for it and acquired the Craftmaster achievement. The last thing that stood between me and perfection. It feels incredibly nice to see 100% on the perfection tracker. Waking up on Wednesday morning, I felt the mountain summit calling to me and was greeted by a whole bunch of birds outside. And yes, I had an alien capsule land right in front of my farmhouse. I hope this is not a bad omen or something. I immediately headed over to the summit, where together with Gio, we watched the sunset. I'm pretty sure this blue bar is not supposed to be there, but there's very little I can do about it right now. Buggy cutscene or not, I was incredibly proud of me in that moment. This is only my second time achieving perfection and my first time doing it in a modded run. There's only one thing left to do, and that is of course to go to the volcano and to pick up the Concerned Ape mask from this little monkey. Truly a piece of art. This got displayed inside the headshed together with the cursed mannequin. Now, my collection is completed. And yeah, that marks the end of the Stardew Valley Mega Modded run. Even though this episode is probably a lot shorter than the other ones, I still hope you had fun watching. If you know of any other games that would be great for a 100-day series, then please let me know in the comments down below. I value you guys' feedback a lot. As much as I love playing Stardew, I do also want to play other games on this channel. I was thinking about maybe doing Terraria or Don't Starve, but I'm not really sure if they fit in the channel. These videos take a lot of time and effort to make, and I would really appreciate if you would leave a like, it helps me out a ton, and maybe even subscribe for future 100 days content. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.